there, everybody listening at home. You are now listening to Peanut Radio. Thanks for joining us. We have no sponsors and really no ads to play for you or any special things to say at the beginning of our podcast. We just like to say some things to sound like other podcasts. Today I have with me my brother, Zach.
Hello.
And we're going to be discussing the question of the day. The question of today is, if you could bring back anyone from history, alive or dead, but probably most likely dead, for lunch for one day.
Oh, man.
Who would it be?
Oh, man.
Why? And what would you talk about?
I love this question so much.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
I did not make up, this is like an age-old question. This is not something I made up. But thank you. Thanks for being proud of me either way.
I need to think about it.
Okay, so while you think about it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to answer.
You're going to answer too.
I just figured it would help you.
Actually, I thought the way an interview
me.
works is that you ask the questions and I answer them.
But a great interviewer never always asks questions, but only sometimes asks questions and sometimes gives answers. Because it's important for both of us to talk. Otherwise, I would just be listening to you talk.
Oh, that is if listening to
If
me
you
talk.
have an answer, I'm ready for you.
No,
I'm ready to listen,
please.
But if you want to hear mine...
No, you go first since yours is probably going to be better anyway. Go on.
Well...
I
think
Okay.
at this point in my life, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I think that if I could choose anyone to come back from the dead and have lunch with me, this is weird. I would say Peter Jennings.
Wow.
Peter Jennings from World News
Good
Tonight
one.
on ABC. I grew up looking at him. I grew up watching him on TV. My father watched the news every night, and I was there.
What a nice guy, really.
Yeah, he just is such a kind soul. I'd want to know more. I would want to know more about Peter Jennings.
He's like everyone's dad.
Yeah, or uncle or doctor. He just is gentle.
He's like, let me tell you about what's messed up in the world right now. But kindly, you know.
Right, and I remember when he passed away, I wasn't really old enough to know anything about him or really focus on... Yeah, I mean, I guess I was. I was starting to get a hang of the way the world was, but
yeah.
When he passed away, I was devastated.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I was absolutely devastated because he was in our home 7 days a week or 5 days a week. I don't remember, but he was there telling us what's going on and connecting with us.
Wow.
It's really fantastic.
Yeah, he had such a pleasant demeanor to him.
Yeah.
And his voice. I mean, can we hear a sample of his voice?
Sure.
Canada is a small country living next to a very large and powerful country. Therefore, I think we grow up in Canada with a sense of the value of influence.
Oh, man, it's so good to hear.
Well, and thanks to YouTube for that because...
Yeah,
and thanks
YouTube.
to this generation. Because really, nowadays, you could find anybody. You can find anything on the web, just about.
Yeah.
Just about anything you can think of, you can find it.
Josh, I have a story about Peter Jennings. He was interviewing, I don't know if you know this guy, but his name is Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah, of course I know Yo-Yo Ma.
Famous violin player.
I thought he played cello.
But same thing. I was watching TV, and Yo-Yo Ma, the famous celloist, was about to play
Not violin.
Not violin.
About to play cello.
That was a bad joke. He was about to play cello. He was about to go on stage. It was a very, very hard, I don't remember what song it was. It was just very hard concerto or whatever it's called.
Let's just say Flight of the Bumblebee.
Sure. He was about to play Flight of the Bumblebee. And right before he went on stage, guess who meets him backstage to wish him a happy birthday?
Who?
Peter Jennings.
Peter, now, see,
Yeah.
Zach, I think you're making this up, and I think you're mocking me.
I can play the clip right now.
All right. Let's pull it up, then.
I can't find it, but I swear, it's honest, and it's true. I wouldn't just make
Don't
it
like
up.
having liars on my show.
No,
but
I'm serious.
For you, since it's the first episode...
Oh, come on.
I will let it slide. So how about you? If you could bring back anyone from the dead, or anyone at all, have lunch with them for one day.
How about
an
someone?
hour-long lunch? Who would it be?
How about someone who trusts me? Who, when I say something, they believe it.
Let's just say it's true. Let's say I trust you.
Sure.
What did he say to Yo-Yo Ma? What did Peter Jennings say to Yo-Yo Ma at this moment?
It
His
was
pinnacle moment in his life where he could either succeed or fail. What was it that Peter Jennings said
Well, all he said was
that brought his performance to fruition?
You know what reporters do is they say, well, here's Yo-Yo Ma, he's about to play this really amazing piece. And he turned to him like he was his best friend. And he turned to him and he said, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. And Yo-Yo Ma said, oh, thank you. He got all embarrassed because he didn't expect it. He said, oh, thanks. And then he stepped on stage and he started to play that famous song, Flight of the Bumblebee.
I don't find any truth in this story. First of all, news anchors don't announce anything other than the news. They don't show up at performances and lead people on stage. That is tremendously false. Well, and you haven't answered my question.
Well, first, let me say that I think Peter Jennings did more than just be an anchor newsman. I don't know too much about him, but he was a journalist here. He was like the PBS guy, I guess. I'm really dumb. We're talking about Peter Jennings. I for a second there I got him confused with someone else, but he was talking to Yo-Yo Ma. Anyway, here's who I would bring back from the dead.
All right, now we're answering the question. If for those of you listening at home, just a reminder, since it's been about 8 minutes since the question was asked.
Lost our attention.
The question is, if you could bring back anyone from the dead, who would it be to have lunch with you for 1 hour?
If I could bring back anyone from the dead, it would be Jim Henson and all of his Muppets that he threw away after making them. Because he always makes a Muppet, and he throws it away. For the Muppet movie that just came out, he actually built a Muppet for every time you see them in a different outfit for each scene. And he didn't make it, his crew made it because he's dead. But I would bring him back just so that I could ask him how he made all those Muppets.
Is that true?
What?
Is that true? Every Muppet
every time
times the amount?
Yep.
Where did you find this fact?
Every time you see a Muppet in the movie in a different costume, that's a different puppet.
You're avoiding the... Where does this fact come from?
It's different every time.
So you're making this up again.
I'm not making it up.
The Yo-Yo Ma.
I'm not.
So where do the facts come from?
I don't want to say because it makes me sound really uneducated.
So where do the facts come from?
It came
if
from
we're being
a friend.
Completely honest here. Who's that friend? Who is the friend?
Craig. He's a good source. I don't know where he gets all his information, but he knows everything.
Probably the Zeit application on the iPad. If we were sponsored by anyone, I would hope it would be by Zeit. Because with Zeit, you can look at all of your favorite articles from all of your favorite websites and blogs all in one place on your iPad.
Okay,
which is not free and very expensive. So don't drop it and break it like Zach.
It is very likely that he watched the behind the scenes on the Muppet movie film and saw how they made it and told me about it, or even it on a news.
So moving on to the second part
website.
of the question.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm going to.
Which you've done
to
the
move
whole
on
time.
to the second part of the question. Why? Why Jim Henson? Why all of his Muppets that he threw out? Why?
He's so creative, and he built so many different Muppets, and he brought them to life, and he created children's shows and movies for teenagers to enjoy, and adults and families alike. I think he was a very interesting, musical, creative, very hippie-like person, and I want to meet him.
All right.
I'm sure
I
a lot
think
of
that's
people,
a valid enough point.
Don't you think a lot of Americans would have wanted met the most amazing puppeteer of our history?
Of course.
I think
absolutely. So. I mean, some of the greatest films. What would you talk about?
I would say we would talk about where we would eat, and then...
Well, let's assume you've already... you wouldn't want to waste part of your hour on trying to find somewhere to eat. I mean, that could take all day. Let's say you've decided on a place. You're going to get I don't know.
When did we decide on where we're going to eat?
You chose, and he had to meet you there. So it's your favorite restaurant. So where do you go from there?
Is that how it works with your friends?
That's how it works with the dead.
You say...
They're dead until they show up. So.
Hey, Josh, meet me at Atlantic Bread, and...
That's your favorite restaurant. That's your...
I don't know. I just said a random one.
Okay, and I would meet you there. I'd say, are you sure?
No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, let's eat at, what's that stupid place? Chipotle. All right. Irregardless, if you could talk about anything, what would you talk about with Jim Henson? You had 1 hour. What would you ask him? I would say, how are you getting home? Do you need a ride?
This is not interesting or valuable.
I'm answering truthfully. What I would say.
Let's just assume he disappears at the end of the hour. Poof.
What?
Midair.
That doesn't make any sense.
He's a ghost. He's dead. He's there to speak to you for 1 hour. You're going to discuss how he gets back to his grave?
But how can he just... I don't understand, I guess.
It's a hypothetical question.
Okay, so hypothetically, if we chose... Hypothetically, the thing that we both liked, and we hypothetically appeared there.
Right.
Which I guess I have to do all the traveling. I don't know. We would talk about, just like... can you breathe? Are you feeling okay? How's the food? Like, do you need to, get a shower? Do you want to get a shower?
So you would spend the entire hour you have with a dead celebrity, someone who changed your life eternally because of their artistic vision.
Wow,
you would spend your entire hour trying to make them comfortable,
when it comes
trying to change the fact that they're dead.
It's just a person.
No, it's a ghost.
Yeah, but big deal. I mean, just because they were dead, and...
So that's what you would do. You would not ask the obvious questions of did you ever imagine being this wildly successful, or did you ever imagine having a cult following? You would ask, do you need a shower? Is the burrito warm enough?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one too. I don't know. Well, do you know what he would say if you asked him those questions? Do you know the answers to those questions? Can you answer them for Jim Henson? No, you have to ask him.
All right, so last and final question. If Jim Henson and Peter Jennings were in the same room, and they were the only people in that room, what would they talk about?
I think, I don't know, but I think it would be like the best conversation ever. I think that Peter Jennings would start to interview Jim Henson, and it would just, Jim Henson would mimic all the different Muppets, and they would start hitting it off and clinking glasses together, because they're almost the same person.
How do you, where does that come from?
Well,
what do you mean?
They both love television. I think they're both excellent at doing what they do, and they're both nice. You know what? They both have this connection with the audience that's like, I am a part of your family. I'm a part of your family, but I'm also an announcer.
And you think that alone is enough for two people to bond sort of
well,
immaculately?
I think what might bring them together is they would say, well, how did you get here? And the other one would say, I don't know, how did you get here?
Yeah, I could imagine that being the start of the conversation. I could see that.
When are you going to disappear? I don't know. I'm not in charge here. I might disappear before you.
Or is it more realistic that they would be talking about how short life is, or how quickly things happen in their lifetimes, or what it's like in the afterlife?
Sure. I mean, why? Maybe they wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, maybe it would be that awkward silence that you feel when you're in the room with someone you feel is better than you. Maybe they both see each other as better than the other. Or reverse that. Well, either way, I mean, we're running out of time here, but I want to thank Zach for being here on the show and for talking to me about this topic. And if you like our show, if you like these sorts of questions and hearing random people you don't know answer them, please subscribe to our podcast. Please listen and rank it or whatever you do. Add stars, share it with your friends, put it on Facebook. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.